Buzz here, and it's early on a Friday morning. I'm quite tired. It's time to talk about that Smash Direct, because here's how do I talk about this? How do I talk about this? I was not expecting what we got in yesterday's Smash Brothers Direct, and I'm not, you know, disappointed. I'm not one of the people that's like, Smash Brothers is ruined forever, etc. But I think it's worth talking about the way this Smash Brothers Direct from yesterday was set up, and why I think the disappointment that happened yesterday happened. Because I think that some precedent in this season pass, I think, was a big part of people's misplaced expectations, but additionally, I think a lot of the way that this direct itself was set up set some of those expectations. But we'll dig into that um, in a second. So yeah. Let's talk about generally this season pass of Smash Brothers characters and what it sort of set up expectations to be. So, um, if we look at the season pass for Smash Ultimate so far, at least like the paid characters in the first Fighters Pass, they've all been characters from other franchises who you wouldn't expect to see in a Nintendo game, you wouldn't expect to see in a fighting game. Unexpected picks, things that you wouldn't see coming. Most of the stuff that everyone was getting for free, either in the base game or with that Piranha Plant add-on, were that's where a lot of the Nintendo characters were, a lot of the Nintendo-owned franchises. And around that time, Nintendo talked about certain characters that we shouldn't expect to see revealed for Smash Ultimate. A lot of people were asking about Springman, the protagonist for ARMS, and one thing that was talked about was don't expect characters from games that are particularly new because there won't have been time to develop them because, because of Smash Ultimate's release timing. So it was, don't expect things like Springman, don't expect Rex from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for example. Sakurai was very upfront about don't expect new Nintendo developed franchises to get characters. When the Fighters Pass itself released, I believe it was explicitly said that the aim was to have entirely new characters from new franchises from outside companies. It was explicitly to bring in characters from to do collaborations with other companies. And I think that is part of the setup of why people were a little disappointed yesterday that the first Fighters Pass ended on a new character from a Nintendo-owned series that already has a lot of love and representation in Smash, and one that, at least in English-speaking countries, is a bit of a joke for having repetitive representation. So we opened with Joker, we had Banjo-Kazooie, we had that Fatal Fury character, we had who's the other one? I can't remember now, but the Dragon Quest hero. And all of those, I think, make sense in that context of unexpected picks from third-party companies. And we ended on a Fire Emblem character, and I think it's disappointing mainly because of its placement at the end of the Fighters Pass. Because it is the final character in the Fighters Pass, I think people were expecting escalation. You start with Joker from Persona 5, you drop in, say, Banjo-Kazooie, you're escalating. People narratively expect the final thing in a set of 5 to be the most exciting, and I think that's part of why people were a little disappointed. Also, I want to talk about a few of the things that Sakurai himself... Okay, this trailer doesn't show the... Okay, the version of the video I have here doesn't have the opening couple of minutes of Sakurai talking to camera, but I can paraphrase what he said, and I think it's important we do that before we get into the trailer. I think what a lot of people latched onto is Sakurai talks at the beginning of this trailer about the character that is going to be in this bit of the season pass, this fifth character, is one that has been developed totally in secret, that won't be surprise releasing during the direct, because they've been developed in secret. No one else at Nintendo outside of the Smash team knows about it. Like, they haven't even been given time to prepare, like, get them on the eShop. And I think to a lot of people that signaled it was a big third-party collaboration, and I think that makes sense. It seems very weird to have to make a big deal out of the secrecy within Nintendo itself in a way that Sakurai has not. He hasn't made a big deal about that with any of the third-party collaborations previously. I've seen a lot of jokes on Twitter that I think are quite apt that talk about, he kept it really secret because if he told anyone else at Nintendo, they'd go, oh god, another Fire Emblem character, no! This is obviously a joke. I don't think that's the attitude held at Nintendo, but, that set people's expectations to go, this is a big third-party character. He did try and soften that expectation, though. The other thing he said before this trailer we're about to jump into was, I think as soon as this trailer starts, you should have a pretty good idea of who the fighter's going to be. Now, I think most people, myself included, completely missed that line the first time round because we were still going, oh, it's a really cool secret character they developed in secret. Oh, what kind of amazing, unexpected pick is this going to be? So, when we get into this trailer, and I'm gonna play it now, I thought this was a bait and switch. We've had them before. I'm trying to think of good examples. We had that Donkey Kong looking trailer with the Duck Hunt dog pretending to be Banjo and it turned out to be Banjo. We had the bait and switch trailer where for Isabelle from Animal Crossing, where it's like, oh, Animal Crossing game for Switch. No, Isabelle for Smash. No, Animal Crossing game for Switch. And where it just back and forth a bunch. We've had those kind of bait and switches, and I thought this is what this was. I'm going to be honest, I did not pay close enough attention to realise this was Byleth. I saw a Fire Emblem character and went, oh, this is a Fire Emblem character setup, and then some third-party character's going to come in and save him. Nerg in the chat says, I was expecting Dante from Devil May Cry 5. I think most of us were. I think the fact that the same day the Devil May Cry Twitter account was like, we're going to tell you some news about Dante in Devil May Cry on Smash, on Switch, I think a lot of people put two and two together there. I will say, of this trailer, I think Sothis would have been a far more interesting character to me to see added to Smash, because, like, I'm not opposed to more Fire Emblem representation. I know that we joke that Fire Emblem is overrepresented in Smash, but I think the problem is less that Fire Emblem is overrepresented, and it's more that it's overrepresented with sword-wielding, a lot of very similar characters. If we look at series like the Mario series, sure, there are more Mario characters than Fire Emblem characters, there are more Pokemon than Fire Emblem characters, but they all feel like drastically different looking and feeling characters, I think. There's more easy-to-tell visual design, that it's not just another sword wielder. And I think this is why Sothis would have gone over better, is at least that's like, oh, we're getting a Fire Emblem magic user, for example.
Are you prepared to die?
Yeah. So, this is the other thing that I think this Smash Direct did poorly in terms of communicating what it was doing, is the trailer focused on Byleth dying and coming back, and then Sakurai does a whole big talk about permadeath in the Fire Emblem series. I really thought that he was building up to some kind of permadeath-related gameplay mechanic, and I don't know how you would make that fun in a game that has either timed battles where you have unlimited lives or stock-related matches. I don't know how you make permadeath a fun mechanic. But I felt like Sakurai was building up to go, permadeath, that's what makes Byleth a unique character to play as. Jenny Artorius in the chat points out we already have Robin as a magic user. I think you're right there, but Robin is at least is still a sword user. I think it would have been interesting to have a Fire Emblem character who uses no swords. So, let's just play this bit of the trailer out, and we'll talk more specifically about the moveset in a minute, because we see Byleth using the big, long, extendy whip sword. That is not the full moveset, and I think it's more interesting for us to talk about the moveset once everything's revealed.
So you return, and sooner than expected. I see. Too many swordsmen, are there? And you wield the sword as well? What will you do?
So, yeah. I think
So
this
that is
character
how
is
you
at
plan
least
to win
more
the day?
interesting
So be it.
by
I'll
virtue
reward
of
your
the
cleverness
fact
this
that...
time.
How do I put this? I think they're more interesting by virtue of the fact that they have multiple weapon types, which is something that does set them a little aside from the other Fire Emblem characters. I recognise that the Fire Emblem characters in this game are more popular in Japan than they are in English-speaking countries. I know that we are not the target audience for adding more Fire Emblem characters, but I think this is at least more interesting. I'm gonna say, I couldn't help but when seeing these, this trio of weapons made out of bone, I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was, oh, is it a bait and switch and we're actually getting two characters and this is some bone-made weapons from fucking Monster Hunter? Are we getting a Monster Hunter character? Because if we're getting swords, axes, and bows made out of bone, I would personally prefer them to be Monster Hunter, bows, axes, pole arms.
With Arid Fire, strike with
Um,
superior reach.
Yeah. So one thing that this trailer did not make clear initially is that these weapon types are all part of a single moveset depending on directional moves. They're sort of like Mega Man's different weapon types to use depending on which special is being used, as opposed to what I think some people's gut response was, which was, is this going to be I hold down and B to switch which weapon I'm using? There's 4 complete movesets in this fighter. It's not quite that. Final Smash, unexpectedly, is, hey, we're big magic. We did a big whip at you. I don't think it's the most exciting Final Smash in the world, but it's fine. It's functional. It does the job. Let's have a look in the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna skim through a little bit. I think... I found this shot really interesting because it suggests that Sakurai was trying to put the posters up really quickly while the trailer was playing, as if it was happening in real time. I don't quite know what he was trying to get across there. Right, let me skim through a little bit. So yes, Byleth is available on January 28th. I honestly expected it to be, it's dropping right now. Just because of the timing of all these things. Okay. Yeah, there's this odd section where Sakurai explains that Fire Emblem is hard to say in Japanese, so he pronounces it with an N, but he has to write it with an M or he gets in trouble with Fire Emblem fans. That's... Yeah, here's the history of Fire Emblem. It's... This history section is I think this history section is weirdly put together because he talks about a lot of the things that make Fire Emblem interesting to him that have nothing to do with the way that Fire Emblem plays, the Fire Emblem characters play in this game, or particularly these DLC characters. He talks about permadeath, he talks about turn-based, grid-based battles. There's one move that he tries to sort of tie in and say is a turn-based move. I don't think that's... I think he's stretching a little bit, but yeah. In Fire Emblem, each unit is a unique character who all use swords. Yeah, I'm just gonna skim through a lot of the history of Fire Emblem.
First comes your opponent's turn.
Yeah. Turn-based... okay. Yeah, he tries to imply that counter-based moves are a reference to turn-based battles, which I think is a stretch.
Might be thinking 17 games. There are that many.
Okay, I want to talk about one thing that I think many of you might have missed watching this direct the first time round, and it is one thing that I think is clever. So if you remember the image that was put up for this direct, a lot of people were assuming it was going to be a character. It was either going to be Dante from Devil May Cry 3, or it was going to be Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes 3, because he's sort of doing a 3 pose in the image, and I think there's a clever double play that I have to respect here, which is the 3 was A for 3 houses, Fire Emblem 3 houses, but I think a lot of people miss that this whole section where he's explaining how to count in binary for some reason is so that, let me get to the end.
There you go.
The 3 is 17 in binary because Fire Emblem 3 Houses is the 17th Fire Emblem game. That's the thing that I think a lot of people missed, is 17... He was doing 17 in binary, but also 3 as his clue that this was Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I mean, sure, why not? You can't deny that the clue was right there. I will say, I think this means that during Fighters Pass 2, any image of Sakurai doing anything in the lead up to a direct is going to be overanalyzed to hell now, because he has set the precedent for there could be a really highly complex clue that just fucking tells you exactly what to expect. I think that this was the smartest fucking clue he did in this whole thing. So yeah, here's his whole counting in binary section continuing for a while.
Japanese, the same name.
Try counting in binary!
End up fighting them.
Here's Fire Emblem 3 Houses! There's a big war between all the factions.
Before its release.
Yeah, so...
The Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I played an early version.
Let me get here. So this is something I talked about at the beginning of the live stream, the fact that when the original game was in development and when the Fighters Pass was first announced, one thing they talked about was this idea of, we can't put in characters like Springman from ARMS because the games are too new, haven't had time to play them, haven't had time to properly put them into the game. He talks here about getting hands-on time prior to the game before its release, but again, this is a character less than a year old who made it into Smash, which I think annoyed some people, and I can understand why, and I'm not going to defend the vitriol with which they have shouted at Sakurai, but I think there is some annoyance that is a little bit justified from people who've gone, hey, this really new, interesting Nintendo fighting game character, can we have them in Smash? No, they're too new. Fire Emblem character who's very new, we can have them. Wouldn't Three Fingers in those positions be 14? Jenny says, well, if you watch Sakurai in this direct count to 17 in binary, he does that 3 is binary. I don't know binary finger counting well enough to correct Sakurai. Yeah, I'm not defending people's like vitriolic anger at Sakurai. But I think that, like, that is important context.
We'd have never made it into...
Yeah. Yeah, he talks here, this fighter would have been delayed if I'd had to wait until after release to learn about the game. But I'm like, surely you could have played ARMS before its release, etc, etc. I think it's a reasonable justification for why third-party characters that are very new don't get in. But, yeah, it feels like he's undermining an argument he himself made for why some characters weren't in there, and I think that makes some sense of why some people were a little frustrated about this pick. Yes. I like that he limits spoilers for such a new game. Right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this character works.
So, this is our new fighter, Byleth.
One thing that they're doing here, and I think it's important to talk about, we'll get to it in a second, is... You know how characters always have different skins? Here, half of the skins are male and half are female, which means you get half as many for each... half as many colour palettes for each... for each gender of the fighter. But on top of that, not all of the colours are available to both versions of the character, which is always a shame. I would always prefer, just give us 16 colours, let us have all colours in both character models. It seems a weird choice, and we'll get to that in a second. But
that's about all you can say for them. Throws
yeah,
are not their
Byleth's
strong point
mobility
either.
is
They're
low.
Grab-Black's range. But actually, you could say that they're distance demons.
Yeah. It seems like
The
Byleth
hero's
is a
relic
character
changes
much like
depending on
the
direction you
Castlevania
point the stick.
brothers
Each of the
that are in
hero's
this
relics
that
is
are
a weapon
built
that
at
appears in
fighting
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
fighting in a very specific
They
range.
look like bones, and there's a reason for that.
Alright. Skim
The sword
forward.
of the
Here's the
creator here
sword.
is Byleth's default weapon.
I like
They
the
use it
sword
for
whip.
flurry
At least it's a
attacks and
different
tilt
kind of
attacks,
sword.
such as down tilt
I like
attacks,
the
where it
visual
takes the
effect on
form
that
of a whip.
flurry attack.
They also use the sword for dash attacks and other moves. For their up smash attack,
Yeah.
They'll whip
The
the sword
I've always
upward to
liked
knock
up
enemies in the
smashes
air.
that do this thing where it's the multiple hits while up in the
For
air.
their
I
up
think
air
that's a
attack.
really fun
they'll wave the whip sword over.
a fun category of up attack that only
The
really
hit
works
detection
with
for
this
attack lasts for a relatively
this
long
whip
time.
attack whip sword. I'm
The
glad
up
that
special
Byleth
move
at
is
least has a
really
different
something.
kind of
The sword extends
base
like this,
sword.
allowing you to do
That
things like
that
this.
whip on the diagonal seems really fun as well.
It was
Also,
pretty tight.
talking about the fact that Sakurai's already said that Byleth has really low mobility, I think it's really important that we take to note this move,
Things like
which
this.
seemingly gives very good aerial mobility at the expense
It
of
was
another
pretty
character, but it
terrifying.
requires
You
another
knocked him
character
into
to
the air
be
with
there.
the attack. And in addition,
Yeah, like, that seems like a really cool
you can do awful things.
utility
like this.
of that sword. Like, that sword is going to be the big
That said,
recovery
you'll
item for
launch
Byleth,
opponents
and
upward
I think
until
it's
their damage
really
reaches a
it's really
certain
cool getting to
percentage.
see a sword used in that sort of manner at the expense of someone else. You don't just pull yourself to them,
Exceed that
you then
percentage,
springboard
and you
off
need
them.
To be careful. You may find it helpful to mid-air dodge. I've already shown this, but you can also use it to latch onto edges. So that's the up special.
Yeah, so the sword basically
Now, for the
doubles
sideways
as a
moves.
grappling
This is
hook
Airfar, the
type
same name as
item.
the weapon from Celtic
You've got your
mythology.
big pole arm for side attacks. I like that this
First,
has a
we'll
very
go through the forward
predictable
and back air
sideways
attacks.
range.
As you can see, they have a long reach,
Yeah.
like so.
Basically, this is your
March
keep
air
away
attack
game,
keeps
which is
opponents
always
in check too,
always a
right?
useful thing to have.
If Byleth does the same thing, you'd win out, so you should be able to beat it.
Yeah.
Next, the side smash attack. This also has a long range. It'll connect even from here.
So yeah, I like that this side smash can be angled up or down.
Also, if you add an upward tilt, it will be stronger.
Okay, stronger with the up tilt. It's
And
good
if
for
you knock an
catching people
opponent
before
down,
they've hit the
the
ground and
side
had a
attack
chance to
won't
recover,
hit
which is always
unless you add
nice.
a downward
A
tilt
little
to
bit of
aim.
variation in where you can land a hit is always a positive.
By the way, the tip of the lance is more powerful.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where you want to be at the exact right distance from the enemy. I believe some of the other Fire Emblem characters already have this, where if you hit them with the tip of the sword as opposed to the blade of the sword, you do more smash damage and send them further,
The
which is
shaft
always
part
nice.
is weaker, so it's not suited to close combat.
Yeah.
It won't deal much damage, and it won't launch opponents far. That's why, as a rule, you want to hit with the blade part aimed upward.
Yeah,
Or
it's
downward.
definitely one that you're going to have to really practice getting into the feel
Next
of
is the
what
side
that range
special.
is to use that attack effectively. Oh, I love this upward swing.
Byleth
I
will
love
swing the lance
any
like this.
any
But again,
bladed
it's
move that
excellent.
has like a trail of
For
energy
example,
following it.
even when your opponent is at this distance, it'll still hit.
Look at that range. That range is gorgeous.
Actually, you can do a smash attack to charge forward a little. Like
Oh,
this.
guys, I appreciate a character with this kind of range. It is
But as you'd
ludicrous,
expect, it can
and
be
I
easily
love it.
shielded, so be careful.
Yeah, it has a big window to shield, but
Use it in midair and you'll carve up a large area. Returning to the side air
yeah,
attacks,
I like that
they have
it's got
great
such a sort of
horizontal
almost
reach, but they
180
lack
degree
verticality.
range when you use it in the air that you can hit sort of above,
So
below,
this
and to the
complements
side.
well.
It's
Although
great.
you'll be vulnerable when you land. For these,
Here's the big
Now,
axe
for the
hits.
downward impact.
These are the ones I'm most excited about. I love
for
this
these,
big
Byleth
axe.
will use an axe called Emir. It's named after a weapon that appears in Ugaritic myth. First, the down air attack. It really is strong. You can try for a meteor effect with this attack.
Yeah, meteor on
Next
edge
is the
grabs
down
is,
smash
is
attack.
always a nice thing to have.
Heavy
Like,
swing of the axe.
I feel like the more I watch about this character, because I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention when the direct initially aired, I was sort of doing other things while I watched, but I feel like this character's big utility is once your opponent is off the side, being very effective at knocking them down and then recovering yourself back up. Both the grapple on and leap off them sort of diagonal attack, plus that heavy down with the axe and then sort of followed up by a leap. Both very good at, oh, you're off the edge, down you go, up I go, which it's a risky form of play, particularly for a character with low mobility, but it's exciting. It is a new way to fight with a Fire Emblem character, which is, you know,
Violet
oh,
channels all their energy into a devastating
look at that big charged
It's a bold
axe
move,
hit.
similar to the Falcon Punch, but here's what makes it different.
Yeah, so this is the Falcon Punch equivalent, but like, it has an attack's worth of invincibility, which is beautiful.
When readying the move, there's a super armor effect.
Okay, I apologize. I said
Which allows you to-
invincibility. It's not invincibility, it's super armor. You still take damage, but you don't get launched or staggered at all, which is the important thing.
Stand and attack.
Yeah, so you can withstand a Falcon
Just so
Punch.
you know, if you execute a Falcon
Yeah.
Punch at about the same time, it plays
That's
out like this.
that's beautiful.
It's a bit
Withstanding a
slower
Falcon
than the
Punch,
but due to the
staying
super
rock
armor
solid,
effect, you
and
have
getting
the
off your big
advantage.
attack. And like the reason this is so important for a fighting game is obviously, big attacks like this are always super vulnerable. And having an attack like this where you can't just get staggered out of it is beautiful. Obviously, you're not completely invulnerable to being stopped,
Unless
because
you get grabbed.
if you can get in with a grab, you can still take it down. But
Another notable aspect is that it
it's
lets you pass
one
through
form of
platforms.
invincibility.
While you're charging up, you can breeze past platforms like this to reach a lower area. It won't let you jump, but you could use it as a surprise attack. Also, you can turn around during the move.
Yeah,
The
this,
swing takes a
for,
while.
for such a big, heavy attack, it's really nice that it has these bits of utility that you can turn it around, you can drop through platforms, you can withstand a hit. You have like a lot more opportunities to pull off the attack successfully than you would with something more vulnerable. Like, it's not invincible, but it's definitely more likely to be pulled off successfully than, say, a Falcon Punch, which is really nice. Jenny Artorius in the chat, I think Byleth is pretty cool, but I'm disheartened that I still won't be able to defeat my girlfriend's Isabelle. She's too powerful. Isabelle is too powerful no matter
So if an
what.
opponent runs behind you
Isabelle
during
is
the move,
the
you can
greatest
quickly
fighter
change
who's
your
ever
position.
lived. Isabelle is the
Even
king
though
of
it can be hard to
fighters.
land a hit with this move, it can be really effective when used
Oh.
against a group of opponents.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful
Plus,
smash.
even
That.
if you fail to land a direct hit, any opponents on the ground nearby will still be launched a little. It's as if the quaking of the ground launches them.
Yeah. That's it. Even if you don't connect
By
the
the
hit,
way,
it's still a
earlier
launcher.
I talked a little bit about the other Fire Emblem characters' moves. I don't recommend using this down special against fighters from the Fire Emblem series, because you'll just get loads of counters.
Yeah.
With hits with that much
It is an
power in a
easy
single
move to
attack.
counter because it has a
Counters
big
can actually
wind up
multiply the
and
power of blocked attacks,
yeah.
and using easily anticipated attacks like this could just get you hit by.
yeah. Don't use this against the
This attack is similar
the
to
Fire
a
Emblem
move.
characters. Also, I need to stop and talk about something that I really was really cool to me watching this. Failnor up here is the internet name of a friend of mine, but is also the weapon and attack
And
name
other
here,
fighters like
and
it.
I just
It
kept
lets you
going,
spin the
ha,
weapon around.
that's my internet friend.
It's also easy to create certain combos with it.
Yeah,
With the
so this
neutral
is the,
special,
what is it, the
you'll let loose an
bow?
arrow.
Yeah.
It
So
seems
this
pretty
is your big
straightforward, right?
ranged
But there are a
bow
few
and arrow
noteworthy
attack.
aspects to this bow.
The main thing
Once
about
you
this
enter the
bow, I
command-
believe, yeah, is that you can't partially charge it. You have to do your full big charge.
You can keep charging until it's ready.
Yeah, you can keep it held, but you
can't
have to
release
at
it
least do the
partway
full
through the
charge. You can't
so when
like
it does
fire off lots of
the
arrows
arrow
quick.
travels at high speed. It's also very powerful.
How high damage
That
is
said,
it? I was not paying
Travels at
attention.
high
When they say it's high
You can't
damage,
release it partway through the charge, so when it does fire, the arrow travels
ooh,
at
like
high speed.
12%
It's also very
on a
powerful.
fast flying arrow. That is
That said, you can still cancel out of the stance using the shield
okay.
button.
You can shield out. Okay,
It
you're not
worked up
trapped
until
in
this
it,
point,
but
if you keep holding the button, you'll unleash a
oh,
powerful arrow that looks
I
beam
like
of
that
light.
it does have 2 stages at least. I
You
like
can perform
that.
this move by keeping the
Here's the thing I like about the fact that this can be
arrow that
charged up
looks like a
further.
beam of light.
So many projectile shot moves in Smash don't really have. They do damage, but they don't typically have smash potential. Like they don't knock the enemy flying and cause. They usually get the percentage up moves rather
You can
than knock
perform
them
this
off
move
screen
by keeping
moves.
the button held down. You charge up power.
But
like
yeah,
so.
Marth here is
Charge
at
a bit more, and
0%.
then fire.
What, 30%?
But again, you'll need to take care when using this move. For one, when you've powered up the move to its max, there's no way to cancel out of it. Not even with the
Yeah.
shield button.
Gosh, that's
In
like
other words,
30%
you're
in
committed
one
to
arrow.
fighting
That's beautiful.
So you see, a situation like this is pretty terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Byleth is basically, hey, depending on which character you pair him up against, anyone that's got a counter for your things, just don't fucking
Once you
worry
enter
about
the
that move,
stance-
because you're gonna get countered.
You won't be able to do anything,
Yeah, you can't cancel
which
out.
means it's quite the risky attack.
Yeah,
to use
that's a real big downside to using that bow against certain characters, that you
Against
can't
fighters who
cancel
have a
out
move
of
with
the
reflector.
most charged up
But you
version.
can always just aim into the fray, as it is, after all, a long-range move, letting you deal a sudden blow to opponents. So you need to think carefully when using this projectile weapon. Byleth's final smash is called Progenitor God Ruptured Heaven.
What's
In
the
original
range
game,
like
there's a
on
move
this final
called Ruptured
smash?
Heaven. This is an enhanced version.
Okay, pretty lengthy sideways range, but nothing up, down, or to behind you.
As you can see, you team up with the mysterious
Yeah, it's just one big hit.
number
Do
of color
big
variations
hits.
are about the color variation.
Okay, let's talk about these color palettes. So,
Even numbered ones are female.
we'll get in here in a
However,
second.
the
So, odd-numbered color palettes are male and even number are female. They don't repeat these colors. So, if your favorite Fire Emblem house was the yellow house, for example, and you played as a female version of Byleth, you can't be yellow female Byleth. You can only be red Byleth if you want to be a girl, but if you want to be red Byleth, you can't be a boy. Like, that seems like such a weird way to do this. I feel like it would have made sense to go, here is red, blue, and yellow male, here's red, blue, and yellow female, and then regular plain coloured male and female would have been a better way to do the 8 colours.
third, fourth, and fifth colors
we'll
are,
get
as
there
you
in a
can see,
second.
reminiscent of the house leaders.
Yeah, we've got the house
Those
leaders.
of you who played the original game will of course understand what I'm referring to. The sixth color is based on Sothis, who you just saw earlier.
Yeah, you've got a Sothis colour palette only for the
And the
female
seventh
version.
and eighth variations have a different hair color,
And then
which is based on
This
based on
pair of
something that occurs
characters
in the
that we
course of the
shan't
original game's
talk
story.
about for spoiler reasons, but
Can we see-
yeah, it seems really weird to carve the colours
I'll
up.
introduce the stage. Garrett
By
Machmont
gender.
Monastery place.
Okay,
Just these
the
four.
monastery is the main location in the
think this is
Fire
where a
Emblem
lot of
series, and we
people
can
come
kind
to
of
do
skim
shopping.
through this.
The guests that appear here
Yeah,
are students
you'll
of the Blue
see
Line.
characters from the
Literally,
game appear in the background,
They're largely
sort
I
of
guess
just
you-
cheering you on. They won't really do anything. It's like, here's my friends from the
in
game.
the original.
These vendors on the side of the map, you
There are
can
vendors
smash
on either
their shops
In the
up and it
original
will
game,
expand the
these are
size
important
of the
booths where you buy all sorts of
arena.
things, but here you can break them. You see,
Give yourself
If you do
slightly
break
more
them,
wide range.
the
This
stage will expand
arena
to
is
left and
basically
right.
just flat platforms, which makes sense for a character with low
I wonder where
mobility.
people will buy their supplies now. Through this areas is possible thanks
Then you just sort of fly around. Now we're inside the monastery. Here's some different characters from army
to
school.
possible.
You can
However,
cause the chandeliers to drop.
with other fighters though,
And
or perhaps you
then what was the other area of the?
In the
I think it's the
camera
bridge
rotates
outside that
90
we go
degrees,
around to.
creating this long area.
So yeah, you
It's a
basically
very
cycle
wide
between
indeed.
3 areas, each of which has a different group of NPCs in the background of. This is big and
It's similar to
flat. I don't think there's anything
Hilda,
particularly special about this
families.
area, is there?
Theology, 17
Skim through.
training.
Yeah, very wide bridge.
The last area is the cathedral,
Yeah.
only with some platforms
And eventually there are some
to
platforms
be
in
under
there.
the protection. The last area, it may be a place where some intense battles will be minutes.
Okay, this is where Sakura just spends a while going, hey, look at how OP my new character is.
Defeat all 5 of
With his whole thing of, we're gonna do a tag battle with all the new
Joker!
DLC fighters. Oh no, Joker ran off the edge of the screen.
And Hero!
Oh no, Hero, he ran off the side of the screen. He just
We-
kind of
we really
deliberately
made a
kills
lot,
all
huh?
the other characters to go, hey,
Banjo!
my new character,
By
Byleth,
now, I think you know what
can
I'm
beat
doing.
all of the Fire Emblem characters by
But basically, I'm
himself.
trying
Look
to
how
defeat all
amazing
5
he
opponents
is.
with just a professor.
Hello, Tricky. Lovely to have you in the chat today.
But as expected, it's going to be a pretty
Uh,
tough battle.
Yeah,
Sniper
he
Lamp-
just he does a big fight. Look at how amazing my new character is. They're so strong. They're gonna defeat all of these characters by themselves. I'm gonna fucking one-shot everyone. I do wonder how many
Good.
takes he
There's
took
Mom.
of this until he successfully beat all 5 with
You're in a
his
good
one.
spot, Mom.
And I wonder what strength level these
I shouldn't have taken
NPCs are set at as
point. It
well.
doesn't matter if Gardevoir's there or not.
Okay. Yeah, he's beating them all. He's doing it. Look how OP my new character is. They're so great. I beat out all the Fire Emblem. My other Fire Emblem characters are shit. I beat them all with my new
Oh,
one.
I'm scared I might get hit with a counter in this state. I hit him. That he's alone, but what matters is that I won. Good
Hooray!
Fun to play.
Byleth did it solo. I'm so amazing.
game. Serious.
Okay,
Now-
can I just say, this is probably the only reason that I'm super excited about another Fire Emblem character is, hooray, more Fire Emblem music. I can't deny, the Fire
the additional
Emblem
music.
games have really good
Fire
music
Emblem
for
stages.
fighting games.
This time. They're brilliant.
There's a good song list. These are all really good tracks. Go look them up on YouTube. They are very solid tracks that are good additions to the game. I can't deny that
We're
much.
also the house
There's
leaders.
a new spirit board, but I've
There's a
never.
new class-
I really don't
So
care
this
about the
is Legend
spirits
class.
mode. It's not a
which is
thing I've
designed
paid
to
much
let you enjoy
attention to.
Classic Fire Emblem stages from throughout the series' history.
There's a special
But you'll-
classic mode thing where you play Fire Emblem stages. Okay, this is the thing I got hyped about in this direct. Let's talk about these Mii Fighter outfits, because some of these are wild. Here we go, here we go. Yeah, so is it Ezio? Sorry, Altair from Assassin's Creed? I think it's a pretty cool Assassin's Creed outfit. I can't deny that this is a cool looking outfit. For a Mii sword fighter. This was my big disappointment of this direct. I saw Rabbids show up and I go, actually, maybe not my big disappointment. I want to, how do I put this? I'm both disappointed and excited about the fact that this is not Mario plus Rabbids and the Mario Rabbids. We're not getting Rabbid Mario, Rabbid Peach, Rabbid Yoshi, Rabbid Luigi, etc. in Smash Ultimate. I'm a bit disappointed because generic Rabbids feels like a real waste considering there is an actual Nintendo Rabbids crossover. But my hope, and the reason I'm optimistic, is the fact that they went with generic Rabbids and not Nintendo-branded Rabbids, to me, gives me hope that my dream Smash character, Rabbid Peach, might still be a DLC fighter in Season 2 of the Smash DLC. I think Rabbid Peach... I think Rabbid Peach, honestly, is my #1 pick for character I want to see as a DLC fighter that I would fucking lose my mind for. Because, yeah, it's so weird that this is just a mascot head that you can still see the face through. This is not what I would have wanted if someone said, oh, some Rabbids content in Smash. Mega Man. Yeah, why are we getting, like, Mega Man outfits? Why are we getting Mega Man Mii outfits when we already have Mega Man as a fighter in Smash? Like, I know that this is a Mega Man X as opposed to Mega Man, but You get what I mean, right? Like, this seems like a really weirdly wasted choice of an outfit. Like, okay, at least this makes a little more sense. This is a bit more of a bit of a more drastic costume change from the original Mega Man, but like, this seems such a weird choice when Mega Man is in the game, to have that just Mega Man X outfit. This is the best one. So let's talk about indie game characters in Smash Ultimate. So I know here in England and in America and in English-speaking territories and generally in the West, there is a lot of love online for the idea of having indie game characters as Smash playable characters. Originally there was a lot of demand for let's have Shovel Knight as a character in Smash, let's have Cuphead as a character in Smash, etc. I think it's important to note that apparently in Japan there is zero demand for that. Like any of the polls that happen in Japan for who wants who in Smash, indie game characters never show up. And I think that's a big deal. That's a big part of why we probably shouldn't expect indie characters to ever show up, because there is no demand for them in Japan. That being said, I'm okay with this outfit, because if you look at those previous outfits, a lot of them, it's very obvious that it's a Mii fighter. Look at this character model. I wouldn't know if you didn't tell me that this wasn't a new Smash character. They're reskinned so that their gun is them doing the finger guns. Just look at this. This is a legit. I would say of all of the Mii outfits we've had, this is probably the one that I would most say feels like an actual new character being added. I feel like this is a very faithful, we have put a new character in Smash. Like, I feel like this is the solution for indie game characters in Smash. Give us one where it's completely reskinned, where we don't have to have, like, the Mega Man style Buster arm. It's now the finger. We don't have to have a Mii style head, or, like, a Mii head at all visible. It's a different shape of head. This is how you do an indie game character, I think, in Smash. Give us more of this. Because that Cuphead is great. That is essentially a new character. No new moveset, but fuck it. Like, and as we can see here, sorry, I'll skim back. Cuphead does come with music as well, so like, yeah, here's the thing. For characters that they don't think there is enough demand to put in Smash, I think this Assassin's Creed one, okay, that's a pretty decent way to get the character in. Cuphead, that's how you do it. Just full on put the character in and go, okay, they're not going to have any unique moves to themselves, but fuck it, you can play as Cuphead in Smash with Cuphead music. Like, that's a good Mii outfit. That's how you do it correctly. Like, I'm totally gonna play as Cuphead, because I like the Mii gunner.
It's called Floral Fury.
Yeah, Floral Fury is the track that you get. Let's skim ahead. There is something else. Where was it?
Looks pretty good,
Oh, the camera doesn't focus on these, but they're the new amiibo.
On Friday, January 17th.
They're available today. Okay, let's talk about Season 2 of the Fighters Pass. So yeah, looking at this, I feel like having Byleth at the end was a weird escalation. I think Byleth would have gone over a lot better had they been in the middle of the Fighters Pass, for example, like after Hero. I recognise that they probably couldn't do that because of development timelines, and when Fire Emblem Three Houses released, it probably had to go last. But I think people would have been less annoyed if we'd built up, say, Joker Hero, Byleth, Terry, Banjo, or, you know, maybe swap Banjo and Terry around. But, like, you know what I mean. I feel like Byleth would have done better in the middle, rather than as the end of a Fighter's Pass.
I must say.
But
So on.
Season 2 Fighters Pass is happening. We all knew more. Well,
As I
we knew
stated,
more
they'll
DLC was
continue
happening.
to
We didn't
release
know
more
it was going to be
DLC
another Fighters Pass.
down the line.
There was
I had
worries
thought
that it might just be
one or
one
two
character
might
here and
suffice,
there,
but
as and when. So yeah, Season 2 Fighters Pass is going to be an additional 6 characters? Yeah. So, I think that's quite cool. They're committed to doing another Fighters Pass, and it's going to be bigger. Well, I say it's going to be bigger than the last one. The last one was kind of 6 if you count Piranha Plant as a post-launch character. Sakurai is very clear to say all 6 of these characters have been picked out
Looks
already,
like
so
there'll be one more fighter
please
than
don't
last
bug
time.
him on Twitter to have your favourite character in.
For this reason,
He's
we will
already
be
picked his
releasing
new
the Super
ones.
Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighter
All Challenger Packs will be released by December 31st, 2021. Now, that's probably longer than a lot of people were thinking. A lot of people were expecting, oh, new season of DLC, it'll all be out this year. It could take up to 2 years for these next 6 fighters to be released. We could be looking at one fighter every 4 months. So, where are we now? January, February, March, April, May. Probably just before or during E3, we might expect the first challenger from the second season pass. One would expect, but like, these are going to be some hefty waits in between. Don't expect them all out this year, because that'd be what, like, one every 2 months? I think a lot of people missed the... you might have to wait
Volume
until
2.
the
It will be
end of
available
next
for pre-purchase
year.
on the day
But,
Tron, so please keep an eye out.
Nurg in the chat
And now
says,
that it's
cutting
official,
Samurai,
we intend to
Sakurai
move
some
ahead with
breathing room.
development.
Totally agree with you. I'm
Of
happy
course,
that he's
we
not
have to
working
release
himself to
fighters
the
past
bone.
Like last
Once again, he apologizes for it, but he's like, yeah, we're gonna sell the season pass without telling you what's in it. We've decided what's in it. We could tell you, but we're not gonna tell you. Please buy it anyway. It feels weird that
we're
if they've
also
all been
including a bonus
picked,
with
it
Fighters
feels
Pass
odd not
Volume
to
2.
just
Last time, it was a Rex costume.
tell people
this
what
time,
they
here's
are
what we
so
have.
that they can make an informed purchasing decision. Oh, hello, Arachnobolt. Lovely to have you in the chat today.
It's a Mii Fighter costume for Mii Sword Fighter.
Okay, I think this is a pretty cool Mii Fighter outfit. This is based on the ancient armor set in Breath of the Wild. I was never a fan of the ancient helmet, but I think the shield, the sword, and the rest of the body are really cool. I hope that you can opt to not wear the helmet piece. Because if you can not wear the helmet, I will totally rock this on a Mii Fighter.
Ancient soldier gear from the Legend of Zelda
You can
Breath
only
of the
get
Wild.
this if you buy the season pass. You can't purchase
This
this
will not be-
separately, which is always a
in
bit of a
fighting games
cheeky
of the
move.
but I
And then Sakurai just goes on to talk about, like, hey, Smash is the
Personally,
best
I don't
fighting
know if it
game,
counts as
best-selling
a
fighting game in the
game,
world.
Brothers
He
Ultimate has
initially
surpassed it
sounds
in
like he's
total
going to be humble about it, and then he goes on this
However,
whole,
I'm not
like,
sure if this is
I don't
accurate.
think it's just a fighting
There were
game,
5 versions of
it's
Street
a
Fighter 2,
celebration
or
of
6 or 7
gaming,
if
and
you
he
really
gets a
want
little
to get
bit
into
navel
Plus,
gazy,
there-
but I'm happy for him that
Super
his
Smash
hard
Bros.
work
I
on this
still don't-
has
I feel
has made it the best-selling
five-
fighting game in the world. Well done, him.
But breaks from
I think we're done. Yeah. So, with that all done, does anyone have any thoughts or questions or anything they want to share in the chat that we can discuss over before we finish up? I am happy to go through everyone's chat thoughts. Let me skim back to, like, a nice on-screen image or something we can have up for a sec. Arachnobolt says, my thoughts, Byleth is fine even though I'm not a Fire Emblem fan. I'm hyped as shit for Cuphead and Altair. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I'm more excited for them than I am for
You're in a good spot, Mom.
Byleth, but at least, like, Byleth does appear to play differently to the other Fire Emblem characters. I can't deny that. Caboose says, I know Smash is a fighting game, but I always saw it as a party game, to be honest. I mean, it's the joy of it is that it's both. It's a fighting game with really solid party game modes. It is really solid in both regards, and that's fantastic. Nerg says, I'm wondering what other Mii costumes they might come up with, like a Hotline Miami jacket or the Doomslayer costume. I think that by the end of Season 2, most of the characters that we've asked for as DLC characters will either be DLC characters or they will be Mii Fighter costumes. I think those Mii costumes are going to be a good way of pacifying people and going, don't worry, we put your character in. Guitar Hero characters for Smash. Basin is back says, I think not telling people who the new characters are is a rather cynical way to build hype and increase sales. I mean, yeah, that is obviously what it is. It is them trying to get you to buy into something that you might not want 100% of. Like, you could buy them all piecemeal, but why not buy them now and give us money to continue development? You'll probably like them. Woo! Has the lack of Waluigi been discussed yet? Waluigi's never going to be a fucking character in Smash because Sakurai has been asked about him so much that I think out of spite Sakurai is never going to make Waluigi playable, and I don't blame him. Francis York Morgan for Smash. Oh, hello, Jane. Yeah, I could go for some Deadly Premonition love. I think he'd be more of a Mii Fighter outfit than a full fighter, but I would love to see him as a full fighter. Oh god, the salt from a Goku costume would be legendary. Totally agree with you. I think certain characters that Sakurai's like, they're not a good fit, but you won't stop asking me about them. Just make them Mii Fighter outfits and shut everyone up. Tricky says, what's that boss trainer called in Pokemon Go with the beard and the fancy outfit? Oh, Professor Willow? Is that who you're thinking about? Arachnabot says, I'm still hoping for Travis touchdown. Basin is back suggests Octodad. Oh, I would love an Octodad who was OP but really tough to control, like impossible to control. If you got good at him, he was OP. I still have hope for Travis. I think Travis makes sense a lot closer to No More Heroes 3's release. I think if No More Heroes 3 gets a release date somewhere around then, we might get an announcement for Travis in Smash. I still think Dante is a viable, like, we might see him in Smash. Jane says Rabid Laura for Smash. I still want Rabid Peach for Smash. I think Rabid Peach is my top pick for Smash. Put her in, you cowards. She is the best new Nintendo character in fucking years. I think that's going to about do it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching this. I apologise that this wasn't, that I didn't do this live stream yesterday. I took a day off, and it just happened to coincide with the Smash trailer. So, in future, I will try and get these not quite live streams done right after the live stream. But thank you very much for everyone for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye. And now's the bit where I have to stop the stream. There we go.